Yep.
Okay, so it's live. So I'm just gonna give it like a couple seconds so I can have it show up. What's up, Mo Issa?
Awesome.
All right, so it's live now. I see it. It's muted. So what's up, guys? So this is Rafael. So I just want to explain what you guys are looking at, who Rafael is, and why we're doing this live. And then, like Rafael, you can introduce yourself and all this stuff, right? So this is like maybe the last video I thought I would have ever done, a video on Shopify drop shipping. So at the dropship house, like most of the guys here dropship on eBay and Amazon, right? And one of the guys who was here, he stayed with me for like 8 months. He runs 2 Shopify stores. And he always brought up the fact that like when you build in a Shopify store, you build in an asset. And when we do eBay and Amazon dropshipping, it's not like it's hard to sell those businesses. So I was always intrigued in Shopify dropshipping. And now at the dropship house, we have like 8 or 9 people staying there for 3 months. And we plan to build a store together. So we all learn. So that's why those of you guys, like I've talked about dropship house on my channel. That's why I reached out to Rafael to see if he could he has like a training program and so on, but we'll get into that in a second. But I just wanted someone with experience to kind of like lead us in that direction, right? So Rafael, tell who are you, where you from, how you got into Shopify, all that stuff.
Awesome. So first of all, hey guys. So I'm Rafael. I basically started dropshipping or learned about Shopify and dropshipping as, I first looked at how to make money online. That was my first goal. Like, how do I make money where I don't have to be in one place? I want to travel. Like right now I'm in Croatia. Next I'm going to a bunch of different places here in Europe. And that
where are you from? Where are you from?
Puerto Rico. It's a small island in the Caribbean. And yeah, so I pretty much lived all over the world since I started making money online. And I saw that, creating an agency or doing like a different business model was really hard, especially for a young kid like me. And for someone that had connections, my English was good, but I didn't really know anybody outside of my circle. So I just had to do something by myself. So what I did was I started applying for remote jobs for people that, would just hire me to do some social media analysis or some social media help. And then finally I got to this company, which was like a 3 to 4 million a month dropshipping company. And they were doing like 3 million a month on Shopify dropshipping products from China back in like 2016. And I got that job. I was like an assistant for that company. And I kind of learned through just being in that team and learning through there. And then I started going up the rank to become like their ads manager. So I became like their advertising manager. And I literally learned how pretty much a 9-figure company works or an 8-figure company works. And I just took all those skills for myself. And I was doing other things in the side, like trying to build my own shops, but it was always a struggle. Like I've been trying to build shops for like 4 years. And it was always a struggle and I couldn't get it. And my goal was always 25K a month. And I never get that goal until, I learned the proper ways to do it. And then I did it for myself. And that's when, it kind of skyrocketed. Now we're at like 200,000 a month in total between all our stores. And yeah, it's my job. I mean, I literally like do this on a daily basis. We run the office out of Budapest, Hungary. And we have like 6 people there working now in-house for our companies. So it's not just some random store that we built and we're selling like shitty products, which is what a lot of people think Shopify dropshipping is. And what a lot of people out there have made it to be like this thing where, you take a product, you take this little thing from China and you put it on your shop and it's going to sell. And that's what many people think dropshipping is, and away from it. And, you kind of can turn this into a multi-7-figure business by doing it properly. And, it starts off small, you can get to 5K, 10K pretty quickly, but then you scale up and you can literally build this, scale it as much as you can.
So someone just asked, will you explain how to start dropshipping from scratch? Now, if we have an idea, right? Here at the dropship house, we have an idea what we're going to sell in our first store. I don't want to say what it is. I'll tell you off the camera. But if you were starting from scratch, where would you start? How long would it take? Like, how do you decide what to sell? Like, where do you start? So someone wants to build out a Shopify store and sell some shit from China or from the US? Like, where do you start? Because online there's so much nonsense and everyone is throwing you in all these different directions.
Yeah.
If you were to start in 2019, what now? I come to you, Rafael. I want to start a Shopify store. What do we do?
All right. So if I were to start from scratch right now, and I would be like, I have no money and I want to make like $1,000, $2,000 a month, what I would do is like combining the two things, the two P's, passion and then profit. And then what that means is essentially finding something that you're in or very interested in that, that could be like, for example, one of my students, she sells maternity clothes and baby accessories or baby gear. And she just had a baby and she has like 2 babies. So she really understands that audience and is very passionate about that. But that's also a niche that people buy a lot of products for. So it's a niche that people really, love and buy a lot of products for. Then I have another student that's selling home decor and like things for the home, products for people that have money and want to invest in making their home look really good. And that's something that he invests himself in. So he really knows that market, but it's also something that makes a lot of money. So the first thing would be to choose what to sell. Because you don't, a lot of people out there are like, oh, just take a random winning product that you can find. That's a great way for somebody that just doesn't know what they're doing. It's a great way to just get some experience. Just get their feet wet and just start doing something. You can sell a charger and put like 10, 20 bucks on ads just to understand how it works. But for long term, you kind of have to pick an audience. It doesn't have to be a niche where you're only selling this particular type of thing, but you're selling it to a specific audience. So let's say you want to pick, I want to sell to men older than 40 years old that like to be outdoors or places. You can sell those people a lot of things. So you can sell like home improvement, you can sell like construction stuff, outdoor gear, you can sell like grilling, fishing, golfing, stuff like that. So the first thing is like picking an audience that you slightly understand, that you can say, okay, this audience might like this or might not, and then going on from there. And then you can either use spy tools, which there's like 5 that I recommend. I recently did a video on this. There's another called Pexta, and another called, there's Product List Genie, there's Sell the Trend. There's just a bunch of different spy tools, and it's a great way to start. And then you can also use AliExpress's internal spy tool to also pick products from there and just get it. But after that, you kind of have to learn what makes a winning product. So that's why I really emphasize my students is why is that a winning product? Like it's not, you want to sell this cream and this is like a super winning product, but you have to understand like why does this sell? And as soon as you understand why, then you see another product and you're like, damn, the same qualities, and you train that eye, and that's how you get to crazy numbers. It's just by training yourself to recognize better products than anybody. So
okay, and then guys, sorry that I didn't mention this before. There's a link to Rafael's YouTube channel in the description. Go check it out. He posts pretty regularly. I'll have him on the channel hopefully like once a week. We also were figuring out he would also contribute to the Shopify section of dropshiptrader.com. So we haven't figured out a date for that, how long that'll take, but that'll come out also. So all right, so just to give you, I had 2 Shopify stores previously, right? I had one that targeted people who like Akitas. That's a breed of dog. I used to breed Akitas. I have an Akita tattooed on my arm. I know everything. I used to show an Akita in Portland, so I know everything about Akitas. And people who own Akitas are like very obsessed because Akitas are like, they don't bark. It's a very different type of dog. So I had that type of stuff like a year ago. And then I had a small store that targeted people from Trinidad and Tobago that lived in the US because like we had some print on demand stuff. We had like curry powder drop shipping that it was from Trinidad. So like it was very specific, but that is just 2 people. I knew what they want, what they're looking for. I spoke their language. I could kind of figure out how to find them on Facebook, or I can make Facebook groups around the topic or whatever. So and I made a couple grand a month from those stores, right? But I felt like maybe the Akita store could have been scaled to like a decent size, but the other stores, it was a small market. I was making money, but it just wasn't worth it. So if someone started today, like they had an idea, they know like They have an idea what they're going to sell. They have an idea in the market. How long should it take for someone to like start from zero and actually build out a store? Forget the sales for right now. How long should that take?
Okay, so I have very different types of students, and some, they know how business works. They built some businesses, but never really profitable. They can get a store going in like 5 to 7 days. They can have a full.
And that store do they build it themselves? Do they pay someone to build it out?
No, they build it themselves. Yeah.
Okay. And do you recommend paying someone to build out the store?
I definitely recommend. What I recommend better is buying a store that somebody ran traffic to it already and wasn't able to sales. So how you can do that is called the Exchange Marketplace on Shopify, and they have their own like bunch of stores that have never made money, but they're beautiful. It's just someone built it and wants to sell it. So it's like very easy. Transaction takes like 1 or 2 days, and you can buy like $200, $300 if you have the money to spend it on that. Or you can hire someone on Fiverr to build a store for you. That's what one of my students did. It took him about a month just because like this is his first business ever, and he's never built, and he doesn't even know how like online or anything works, and he got it done in a month. So a month would be like the max someone would do.
Okay, the idea we have, I think our goal is to build it up by the end of the month. So we have 2 weeks. So what's up, Gail? How long have you been, Mo Isa asked, how long have you been dropshipping?
Profitably 2 years. Have been trying at it about 4.
Okay.
And the reason why that is because I never seeked out any help. Like I never had a mentor. I never bought courses. I was just doing it out of learning it myself, and that's kind of why it took me a long time. And I also like come from a background where like we had a computer at home and like watch YouTube videos. Like I didn't even know how to use spreadsheets. Like it was just really I just didn't know how to use the internet, and that's why it took me so long. For someone that's watching this channel, it would never take as long as it took me, just because they understand how everything goes. Yeah.
And then, so it takes you 2 weeks to a month to build out a store. What does that mean? So you get a store, how many, you throw up what, 10 products, 100, like, how does, go into, like, give me some numbers, like what's required? What do you suggest? And again, there's more detailed stuff, obviously, right? But I'm just like, in general speaking, if you give like context.
So the bare minimum, $29 per month is the Shopify plan, plus like $2 that you would, spend on apps for your store to make it look better.
How much? For the apps?
$20.
Okay.
I would say like $50 bare minimum. And then there's different strategies. I also did a video on this, like how to start with $200. So if you don't want to spend it on ads, it's not risky, I would say, but it's complicated. You do have to understand how it works. It's very scalable. As soon as you make 1K, you can make 100K in a month if you really understand ads. But you can do it as well through Instagram. So by doing it through Instagram, you can just look for small pieces and spend the product price. Like let's say I want to sell, this little like passport pocket thing. So this costs me like $3, and then I sell it for $20. All I have to do is send this to 10 different people, cost me $3 each, so that's $30, and then I get 10 different audiences that are small, but those influencers promote my product. So bare minimum, $100, I would say. And obviously, there's no like guarantee that you're gonna make 1,000 from 100, but that's kind of like the bare minimum I would start. 200 to 300 gives you more room to play with. You can do some ads. You can start some Google advertising as well. And as far as other costs, drop shipping, right? So you're not going to pay for the product before. You're going to pay for it after. There's not really other costs apart from that. And you don't need to hire a virtual assistant until you're doing sales. So that's kind of pretty much it. Yeah.
And then after you build out the store, how do you choose your marketing strategy? How do you decide if you're going to run paid ads on Facebook, paid ads on Google Shopping, or you're going to stick to influencers? Like what? Like, is it that you start with the audience you're targeting? Like,
yeah, so it depends on two things, your audience and your budget. So For example, I had one student that joined, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I have like $10,000 spend." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is serious. Let's do like a real, like an ad strategy, because you can spend 3K and make 30 if you do it properly later on." So with that, it would be like heavy paid ads on Facebook and Google. If you have a smaller budget, like let's say less than 500, I would stick to small advertising on Facebook, small advertising on Google, and what I mean by small is like $10 a day, and influencers for sure. So it also depends on the audience. So if you have, let's say, an audience of young women that maybe it's like a beauty product or swimwear product, Instagram is where to go, because you really have to understand your audience. So it's like if you're targeting older people, Google will be much better. If you're targeting products that are higher ticket, that are more expensive, Google is better. If you're targeting, let's say, products that people search for a lot, so let's say you want to search, let's say you want to sell like, I don't know, a thing that cleans the kitchen very quickly, right? So a thing that cleans the kitchen very quickly, that's something that it's a problem that people have and a problem that people search for. That's a Google product. And if it has what I call a wow factor, like a product that just makes you like stop and look at it, then it also works on Facebook. So what I've had a lot of students do is really analyze, will this stop me from scrolling on Facebook? And if it doesn't stop you, there's no point in advertising on Facebook. It's like, it really has to have that wow factor. I just like, oh shit, this is cool. Let me check it out. And then, yeah.
Okay, so all right, let me see so Mo asked one advice you would give to as a newbie. What's up, Sheldon? And then Gail asked, do you use Facebook ads?
Yeah, so the first one advice I would give as a newbie, focus on one strategy and don't follow 20 different YouTubers and then try to do what them 20 are doing, because everybody has one strategy that works, right? There's people that have made millions through Google. There's people that have made millions through Reddit, advertising, Snapchat. There's so many things. But if you look at a bunch of different people, you buy 5 different courses, and then you're trying to do all these different things, it's just going to end up in a place where all of them didn't work because you never focus on any of them. So my main advice as a newbie is just like taking one strategy and doing it 100%. And then also being very careful of where you spend your money. So like if you decide you're going to do Facebook ads, don't spend like $1,000 on Facebook and then realize, oh, it didn't work. Let me figure it out why it didn't work. Like start spending small, like $10, $20, $50 work. Why? And then kind of going out from there. Like be patient.